If we now open the admin object.js and system object.js, we're going to start with the admin object.js. Inside of this admin object literal, we've got the method called isEmpty. Now we're going to simplify this method slightly. Rather than having this question mark false, then colon true, we're going to remove all this. And now that's without obviously these two elements at the end, which we've just removed, would return true if the value was not empty, basically. Which obviously the method should in that case be called isNotEmpty. But we want to keep the name. So what we're going to do is wrap this in another set of brackets and the exclamation mark at the beginning, which is basically going to the opposite. In which case isEmpty is actually going to make sense. Now we are going to cut this method and remove this comma after. Save this admin object and move it to the system object, because this is one of the methods that can be used across the front end and back end. And after our top validation inside of the system object, if we paste this method, and that's all fine now. If we scroll down and create a few new lines, and after our new isEmpty method, we're going to create another one called replace values. And this is the method that's going to be used whenever we get the response from Ajax with this replace values index. As you may remember, we've been doing this, we've been sending these items obviously inside of the MOD folder. If we open one of these files, basket, say, we've got this replace values here, obviously, which will be an array with different objects. It may be a class, it may be an ID of the object, and obviously this method now will replace all these elements basically, obviously with the values sent through the Ajax. So we're going to take this array as the parameter. We want to use the strict mode, so use strict, and then we use jQuery's each function. Basically it's a loop, so this array and then function, this key and this value, and then semicolon after all this. And now we're looking for this key, the object with this key. Let's say if it was say class name, so that would become obviously, when we are wrapping this inside of the brackets, the class name object. So if we remove this and then we have that and HTML, this value, which is basically going to replace anything that's inside of this specific object, HTML object. So that's our replace values method. We can now save and close the system object.js file.